Hi, I'm Lucas Mack. I'm a former TV reporter, a published author, TEDx speaker, musician, advertising agency owner, and management consultant. I'm also a former Christian preacher who dedicated 15 years of my life searching for truth and love. I've done a lot of work to heal, and I'm on a mission to see the hurting get healed and the healed go out and heal others, in order for all of us to experience the true love and light we desire. This podcast is me sharing my journey with you, so you don't feel alone in your journey. Welcome to the Golden Rule Revolution. Brothers and sisters, welcome back to another episode of the Golden Rule Revolution. I'm your host, Lucas Mack, and it is such a pleasure having you with me. I've really enjoyed bringing the recent episodes to you, and today is no different. I have with us again the very powerful Tracy Clark, Reverend Tracy Clark on. She was on, I think, a few months ago. I forget what episode exactly, but she is powerful. And before we get into my interview with Tracy and my conversation with Tracy, I want to just encourage you all that it is all going to be okay. All of it. You're not a Democrat or a liberal or a conservative or Republican or wherever you are around the world. I realize that we have a huge audience around the world. You're not a side. You are a human being. And these divisions are actually, if you think of someone doing the splits, they are splitting to the point where it will break and we will all land on the exact same level again. And that is recognizing our humanity, not our political parties, our ideologies, our economic beliefs, or religious or political, none of these things. We are coming back to being human. And in our humanity, we will honor and love each other again. It's going to be so beautiful. So just know that it's going to be okay. I honor wherever you are, whatever's coming up, the fear, the worry, anxiety, judgment, anger, it's all good. Let it all come out, because you cannot carry these low vibrations into the new world that we're stepping into. And things might get a little more intense, but it's going to be all good, brothers and sisters. So with that, enjoy this episode with the very powerful Tracy Clark. Well, I don't even know how to describe you. Usually I say, dear sister, like, welcome back. You're more like a best friend, mentor. It's just well of safety and strength and knowledge and wisdom and all the good things that really everyone wants to be around. And so thank you for coming back on the podcast.
Well, I'm so grateful to be here. And, it says takes one to know one. And it's like I said before, you and I met, and like we've known each other forever, but our spaces always need to be safe. And I think people forget that nowadays, that we've been conditioned through so much fear that most people forgot what safety really is, because we don't learn it a lot of times in our family. We don't learn it by watching mainstream media. And this is what the new earth is about. And we are in crunch time right now to find safety, to find truth, to find real love. And that's why I do what I do, because I, like you, know what it's like to not know what safety was. And when I found it, I said, we need the whole world to feel this so we can have a really good new earth.
Mm. And, safety is, like everything, there's this facade safety, and the facade safety is with lots of people. If the masses, or if many people are in consensus or agreement, that's safety. But that's not the safety we're talking about. The safety we're talking about is the safety within our body, knowing that we're actually safe. And that requires a lot of courage.
I love that word. It's true. Courage and desire. And it is about, when I realized that you can have safety in community, and that's great. You don't always have to agree. That is not what safety is about.
Right.
But you are exactly bang on. Safety is, and when I learned this, is my connection to the God of my understanding, living in my truth, living in my purpose, not being afraid within my body, my physical being, my mental being, my emotional being, psychological being, psychic being. Like we have all these layers that people don't even talk about. And when those become safe in you, then you become empowered and you get to lead your life. And no one's telling you, don't do that and don't do this. Your safety becomes so strong that your inner guidance and your inner intuition, I promise when you get there, that is like literally, that's when the whole floodgates open. And I was like, oh my God, there's a whole new world over here that doesn't belong to pain, sickness, illness, disease. It's like, woohoo.
It's
Yeah.
truly, I know it's like the word euphoric, but it's like this elation. Once you find it, you feel it. You're like, what? This is incredible. Why would I ever go back? Why would I ever entertain something that wants to put chains, control, conditions? It's like that grosses me out. Is the best word. Like
It
I have
is
such a
gross.
test for these things that like
Yeah.
just because and why it's so important and why I love you, not why, but why I love our conversations is we're saying, come out.
Yeah.
Come out and play again. Remember the light, the sun.
Yeah. And remember, because we are meant as sovereign beings, as children of God, we are actually meant to play, to laugh, to pick each other up when we fall down. We're meant to encourage people, support each other. How can I help you? That is actually, when you look at the energy of a soul, when a soul comes in, people don't realize that that's the energy a soul comes in with, is I'm coming here to Earth School to help empower people and motivate them. And really, that, I don't like the saying, but everyone says it, live your best life. You know, you hear that all the time, but I don't like it because it's very empty the way people say it.
Yes.
But your soul comes in that way, and then the soul gets clouded. And by the age of 2, you're looking, going, and you've forgotten now why you came in. So it's like this whole journey is, you got to look at the gift of it, that we're here to wake up and go, oh, I remember what my soul was, because that's life every day. And I love, that is my life every day, but it wasn't. And I don't know if I ever told you this, when we wake up and we start to look at things differently. I had 2, when I left my marriage, which was almost 17 years ago, and he left the house. And this is where I started to get curious that there was something bigger. Literally, this whole wave came over my body, and I was just like waking up. Like, this is very early. It was like this huge weight lifted off my shoulders. And I realized it was like as if you had like 50 pounds of potatoes on your back.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is that? And then I anchored onto that on my journey, because I'm like, okay, there's something else there bigger than I am. And then probably about 8 years ago, 7 years ago, as I was still cleaning and moving and shifting, and the huge breakthrough came down, I was like, all right, God, it's time. It's time for more peace. And I walked down my stairs and I got to the bottom, and this huge peace overwhelmed my body. And literally, because I always ran with a subtle like nervousness going underneath, even though I'd done all this work, there was still, and I'm like, why is that not leaving? It came to the point where it was so powerful, and it's never left since that day, but it gets stronger and stronger, but so powerful. I spent the next 90 days every day looking behind my shoulder going, is this going to leave? Like, what is this? Is this really truth? Do I really get to have this access? And that's what I want everybody to have.
Yeah. I think in my TED talk that I gave, I was saying that we've been conditioned to think of superheroes as like supernatural, like some other ability. And I said, but we need more natural heroes willing to share their stories. But really, the irony is coming back in and acknowledging our natural abilities brings in these supernatural abilities. And
Yes.
I think so many people are seeking the supernatural abilities, but they never come back in their bodies, understand what's happening, and then they miss the great gift. And like even Jesus said, you can't put new wine into old wineskins. You can't, that it doesn't work. And so many people are looking for the new wine, but they are the wineskins. So they have to actually come back in to hold that container.
Well, people forget too that as you're changing inside first.
Mm,
Then your environment is going to have to change. It's exactly that thing. You can't expect to have, great health or great wealth or great connection in the old environment. It doesn't work that way. The beautiful thing we were given was a gift of change. And if we keep changing with people around us, they keep coming with us. If they're not changing, they leave. And it's like you and I were saying before we jumped on, is people need to remember we have a body as a vessel because it contains everything. We have our connection to spirit, God of your understanding, whatever you want to say, and we have Mother Earth. And
mm,
if you don't know your body, I always look at them like we came in the vessel so the body could communicate to us what was happening.
mm,
But nobody learns that. They're just all like, they're giving the power outside. No, 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 no. And every answer, everything is inside. And it's okay if it hasn't all shown up today, because you know what I say to people? If all showed up tomorrow, you'd be bored. You got to create something else.
that's right. That's right.
So
And
you're correct. You can't put a new life in your old body. You can't put new wine in an old skin. And I don't know how many people don't get that message. It's huge.
huge,
Huge.
huge. And uh, uh, then those that are looking for, because I think for the majority of human beings on the planet, there's this sense of at some point there's something more, there's something different, or something I'm missing or lack. There's something off. I think everyone gets that sense, and religion says, "Come to me, let me show you where you're off." And it's interesting. One of the things that, I have Jewish family, Catholic family, evangelical family, come from these like crazy lines of all this highest ranking religion and um, smugness and control and just the craziest stuff. But when I started studying with my Hasidic rabbi friend, I studied every single week for 3 years at the shul, and I would go in there. And one thing that was beautiful about um, Judaism, and not that Judaism is the key, but one cool thing that I took from that, which was different than the Christian world of religion, and even, well, yeah, I'll just say the Christian world of religion, is everyone, they called it learning. First of all, they don't call it studying. They don't call it like, you're not studying for something, you're learning. This is just a practice, which is, if the law of one with Ra, the books of Ra, he calls it learning, which I thought that was super cool. Like this language set.
I
Uh,
always say you have to unlearn everything you learned. So
learn,
you,
yeah, it's all, yes, you have to unlearn so you can learn. Totally. And what's cool is even the rabbi has a study partner, and everyone's facing the same way. There's no sermons in the shul or the synagogue. I mean, the new synagogues are like reform and conservative, there are, but the rabbis are studying with everyone else, and they're all facing the same way. But Christianity is like, put this person in the front, this priestcraft, look at me, these like guru type people. And it is so wild, because once people are in that system and they see what they want in themselves modeled in a facade in someone else, and then you were in this group, everyone's like, you're looking around like, well, this must be the way.
yeah, yeah.
But what we're saying is that knowing is you, the way is in you, like you got to find it. And anyway, it's
And
just very fascinating, this.
it is. And I want to say it was interesting to tell that story. I had a beautiful client the other day in his 70s, and he said to me, there was all this religious programming in his body. He was ready to let go.
Mm,
And I'm like, this is very harsh. Like when you were little, you were told to be quiet, don't speak of that. I said, but where's that coming from in this religious line? And he said, I grew up Catholic. And one day I had a Jewish friend and we got along so well. So I went to the priest and I asked him, I wanted to know more about, my Jewish friend's background. And the priest said, we don't talk about that and don't ever bring that conversation to me again, which then shut him down around exploring what made his friend that he loved. He was just a little guy. He was like, I think he's 8 or 9, like just a little guy, right? And what you're saying in that is exactly like it's become this division and hierarchy versus we're just here to learn. And you and I share that. I just like to teach people,
Yes.
go out and do it yourself and be empowered. I just want to share what God gave to me.
Yeah.
And it helps. Dump what you don't want, keep what you want, go
Yes.
do what you need to do. Go be happy.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. I remember earlier this year, so I read the Satanic Bible. One thing that
Wait a minute, the satanic. Okay, I haven't heard of that one, but okay.
by Anton LaVey, is Satanic Bible.
Okay.
And one thing about me is because of that religious raping of sovereignty.
Yeah.
And I experienced that for so long. I want to know what other people know so that I am no longer under them. And I don't, that's where I started. I mean, literally consuming everything I can and giving dissertations, and I could give of all the denominational breakoffs, the lines, all these things. But I started reading all these other religious texts. I mean, I read all the Jewish Sephers, and reading the Satanic Bible. I bring that up is because I shared with some Christian friends of mine, and they're like, it was like I had tased them with a cattle prod. Like, they're like, be careful. That's what I kept hearing, be careful. And I'm like, man, if this information exists and other people have this information, but you're so afraid of the information, how can you ever communicate with someone, even if you disagree and think they're in the wrong? If you don't understand what they understand, how can you ever communicate?
Well, you can't. And their projection manipulation is, oh, that's the enemy. Oh, that's
Yeah.
demonic. Oh, and they start labeling it all. And you're like, wait a minute. Labeling shouldn't be happening on any front.
Right.
Division shouldn't be happening on any front. And that is my big problem with religion, is it doesn't go to love, because it's all about like the division. I'm this religion. I'm that religion. I can't accept you because of this. It's like I always say with, look at nature. We have the most beautiful birds that God put on the planet, right? Many, many species of birds and animals. A bluebird doesn't go to a red bird. Oh, I don't know if I want to be your friend because look at, you're red. You're not blue like me. They're not about division. They're all about, they respect each other for what they're bringing in their species into the planet.
Right.
And I always, more people would start to understand this. As humanity, we can come together, and we got to get out of all these structures because they don't work. And like you said, hold on for this next 12 months to the end of 2021. If people think the structures are going back to something, no, they're done. And part of this whole separation is done. So there's going to be truths coming out. Mark my words. You can listen again over the next 12 months. Truths are going to hit the airways, and people are going to be devastated, like you and I, or when you woke up in the church and went, oh my God, I've been lied to my whole life.
Yes.
That is a devastation, trauma into the body. If people don't think this is coming, it's coming. It's coming.
It's
here.
It's here. It's literally, I can hear the doors cracking. It's coming. And
it's here.
The beautiful thing about it, and to the Christian world, I want to say, when you read Book of Revelation and it says that Jesus wipes away all tears from your eyes, you got to understand that there's a massive crying. It isn't like, oh, you get, not the guilt of like, oh, we're going to see what really has been taking place on this planet outside of the matrix facade of like, oh, hey, yeah, like 100%. We're going to see it. And then when that is seen, it finally can be removed. And one of the beautiful things about Rabbi Schneerson, who started Chabad movement, I just love this quote. He said, the earth is still a garden. but it's our job to dig it out. It's our job to expose the good in this world that has forgotten what good is. And when truth, and here's what I was saying this the other day, if the news and media and Hollywood and technology and books and universities and doctrines and degrees and theses and all these things, if this was all true, then humanity would be free.
100%.
Makes us free. But because we are not free, we can look and say, then those are not true.
100%. I so agree. And it's, even the programming that comes from that, how many people say, well, I can't succeed in life because I don't have 10 degrees. I'm like, yeah, that's a really bad belief system. And, when I went to school, it's, I'm much younger than you. No, I'm just kidding.
Last year, I get it.
Yeah, I'm like approaching my 50th birthday. Let's see here. And I did say that right. My 50th birthday. I'm pretending I'm 39. But we don't have to age. Well, that's a whole other conversation. But that's exactly when I went to school. They didn't really talk about the university because it is a business. My ex-husband's a prof. It is his business. So they didn't talk about it till about grade 11 or 12. Like, what are you kind of prepping for? And now they're talking to it kids at 7. I have kids that are stressed. They're 7 years old trying to figure out what they want to do with their life. Well, most people don't know what they want to do with their life till later. And there's the manipulation right there. You're not free if you don't have this and this. And that's just one example of all the institutions, because there's enough money on the planet for the whole world to not have poverty or lack. Right. There is enough, and there's enough energy on the planet for everybody to have free energy, no one to go without. There's enough learning and teaching. Now we've got this internet, we have a new internet coming. This is like, there's no reason to not have good education at all that's free. Like, it's just, these systems, you're correct. They just locked us in chains. They just kept us so locked up. But then people are like, oh, but if we don't have that, then what? What? Freedom? Happy people?
Right. Community.
No poverty or lack? Like
neighbors, knowing neighbors, helping each other, communal dinners, cookings, listening. Yeah. You mean like heaven on earth?
That's what it is. Like there's abundance in every area for everybody. And that's what the heavenly realm is. When people talk about the heavenly realm, and I know, in my last near death, that's why I didn't want to come back, because I entered this realm of peace and sounds and colors and joy. And I was like, why is this not on earth? Like, why this? But I got it, that I saw it to help people remember when we weren't here on earth, that's what earth is supposed to be. Humanity is supposed to be. We've just been lied to for 25,000 years.
Yeah, that's right.
Lied to. So imagine being lied to for 25,000 years. People listening need to really understand the magnitude of that, and why people waking up now are questioning governments, questioning religious institutions, questioning the banking, questioning because it needs to be questioned, because it didn't serve humanity. It enslaved humanity.
That's right.
Under the pretend veil of you are free. But if you're free, you don't need a passport to travel. We live on earth. All of us live on earth.
That's right.
You got to think about that. And it affects the body.
I did a podcast with a really cool guy the other day. And he said, we were talking about psychedelics, we were talking about healing. He grew up incredibly abused as well, and his story is the only person I've ever heard a story where like I felt like I can talk to this guy and he kind of gets where I've come from. And he said, I wrote down the other day, we were talking about psychedelics, and he said, it's funny you mentioned this, I wrote down the other day that trauma is psychedelic. And I said, it is psychedelic because it takes you out to see something else, but then you come back in, but the problem with trauma is it keeps you out of yourself feeling safe in the body, but you do see things different. The near-death experience, you see a psychedelic, the truth. And what is psychedelics, and why are psychedelics illegal? Because people wake up to there is way more to everything around me all the time. And I'm told, oh no, those are wrong. That is bad. This is, just play this game, make your money, get a W-2
Light,
2 weeks. Yeah.
follow the
Just
rules.
go to
Yeah.
church, don't swear, follow the rules, drive the speed limit, buy your stuff, rack up debt, die.
Yep.
Oh, you are a good citizen of the state, and you are a good,
Pay your taxes and die.
exactly, and pay your tithe, because if you don't tithe, you are, all this insanity. And I really believe that I'm going to go into the psychedelics talk, but plant medicine is in the sacredity of it, or the sacredness of it, has been really beautiful to help me heal, because it allowed me to be safe enough to actually come back in my body and actually process these things. But I realized that world, because it's not like being drunk, or it's not like cannabis even. It's like a different, it's like fully conscious, if you want to be, and present, but also like you can see different things. Like I'd be looking at you and I would see like the real art of your face, like all these beautiful lines and like the trueness. I'm like, this is really what's happening.
Yeah.
This is real. We are divine beings. We just can't see that frequency right now. Someday we will see this frequency of divinity, and it will be.
And you can, and that's how a lot of people go to find that.
You
I
don't need psychedelics, right?
No,
Yeah.
no, I'll tell you that as my path, that's not, I just kept opening it up. And then the seeing, the feeling, the hearing came in. And I learned when I felt something or I heard something to do, never discount it. And it was crazy. When you do that, it'll be this craziest thing. I've been in lineups looking at the old people behind me, and I'm like, I hear just put $50 down and buy their stuff. And I just say to the cashier, here's a $50, buy their stuff, and walk out. And they're like, what just happened? From that to, I hear today I had to do something earlier before this, and I wasn't on the agenda. I heard you have to do this for the community. You have to do that. I'm like, okay, guys, here we are. And I just don't second guess it. And when you stop second guessing what you hear, feel, and know to do, even though it might sound crazy, even though you might feel embarrassed, watch the doors that open on the way you feel, you hear, all of that beautiful information will be unlocked. And one of the things I really felt strongly to share, and people may not know this, but the people that come to this planet to really help humanity and have the biggest light, that are ready to wake up, 99% of them are the people that when they first come into the planet, come with the most pain and trauma. And the reason is because when they come in, the energies that have ruled the planet for so long see the light come in, and they really, yes, there's other issues and karma why you pick up your parents, but it's to clean your vessel out. They literally, you come with these hard traumas in the beginning, because spirit knows that you can clean your vessel out, you can help other people. And once you clean that vessel, your light becomes unstoppable, where no matter who wants to say whatever they want to say about you, or whatever they want to put in the media. Like, let's look at when the media is there to eat people up and pull them down. So when media is shaming somebody or they're berating them, like we see a lot with a lot of politicians, good, bad, or indifferent, that energy goes into their system. That energy will kill them more than anything else if they go. So this is the job of the dark energies. So you come because you have so much light, and you're just, the more you come into the light, those energies you're unstoppable. They will not be able to touch you again.
Wow. That's so cool. Incredible. I don't know why I feel like sharing this, but last night, so we're recording this on 10:30. This will air sometime in November, but last 10:31, tomorrow night will be the blue moon, the full moon. And last night I haven't been outside, I think, at night in a long time, just because we have 3 young kids and I'm home and I go to bed and I don't go out. And last night I happened to go outside and it was clear sky, and I saw the moon and then Mars right above it. And I was just blown away. I could have stared at it for, I felt like ever. It was incredible. And the contrast of that light surrounded by darkness, but it's so beautiful because the darkness is surrounding these beautiful, brilliant balls of light in the blackness, but they can't extinguish it. So the light is actually the most powerful thing that we're looking at. I just had this incredible, it cannot be extinguished. It's so brilliant. I was like in love with looking at these things last night. Like, what is this? This is.
Well, the astrological, all the planets are getting shifted right now. We're not just Earth is going through this upheaval. Every planet is. And you're right. What happens, and I see this in bodies a lot, is I always say to my community, it's like you're holding the lantern. You're holding your lantern, it can't go out, but now your whole body becomes this lantern. And what happens energetically when you grab that light in the fullness, is you actually start to look like a bug zapper. So, you know, when you put your bug zapper outside and the bugs come in, it goes zap, 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 your body becomes like that. So what happens is when the negativity tries to come in your field or something, two things will happen. It'll get zapped right away where you won't even notice it. You'll just keep going on your glorious day. And people, like, I have people say that. They're like, I do not even want to come to your thing. You're too happy for me. I'm like, okay, well, you go be miserable. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's fine. Or what happens is you start to feel that energy come in very quickly and you'll be like, whoa, that's not mine. I'm not taking that. I'm not accepting that in. And your light just cleans it out. So your whole system naturally becomes this beautiful vessel that's constantly cleaning itself. And even in energy work or old modalities or the way the churches are, they're all dying too. So, you know, people think they have to ground themselves every day. I'm like, after 30 days, your body knows what it's doing. Like, you might say, I need to ground my body a little bit. People don't even think to ground their brain. Like, they're so busy grounding their body when they're in spiritual work. And I'm like, well, when's the last time you grounded your brain or your psychic space? Or like, they're like, what? I'm like, you're so out there. Or their brain is, you know, moving. And you're right. The moons right now, it's cleaning the earth. They're helping us. And the light can't go out. Light a match in a dark room. You can see the whole room.
Yes.
With that tiny little match.
Yes. What do you think of it? I'm not clear on this, and I've never talked about this on the podcast. So where do I even start this? So I have watched so much of Alien, and I 100% believe it. I'm excited about it. I understand these beings. I understand that Star Trek or Star Wars is more documentary than fiction. And yet the Earth's power structures, yes, baby Yoda. Yes. And the Earth power structures have told us that they're coming to destroy every media, every piece of movie, all the military industrial complex that they are coming to destroy. We need to fight them back. And this is what I'm not clear on. I would love to get your take. And yet we have been conditioned from a very young age. And I think the truth has come in that they come in peace.
Yeah, you're bang on. I actually was talking about this week with a group, and again, with manipulation, right now we're in a time where you're going to see great manipulation to put you in fear. There's a reason they created that film. Oh gosh, wasn't it like 2012 where every alien movie you see is basically about humans fighting the aliens, right? Like everyone.
Down by the aliens and
and they're bad because they want you to and here, I'll tell you what I see and what's been shown to me, and maybe it'll help people to not be so afraid, is you got to remember with all this manipulation, there's a lot of people and energies of the old that do understand what the light is doing. So there's a lot of manipulation happening. And yes, but there's more energies in the universe and the galaxies that are for the light than the dark.
Yes.
And the reason it's been set up, and I've been shown this many times, that they're going to come down and just like annihilate everything. If people haven't seen it, I always say they need to go watch that movie, The Arrival. I
Hmm.
don't know if you've seen the
I've
Arrival.
never seen that. No.
It's about good alien beings coming around the world, and it's all about that. We got to fight them, but they're not there. They're there for love. Okay. And
Hmm.
now humans get into fear because that's that first foreign. I don't know you. So when something's foreign to the body, what have we been trained to do? Fight it, don't listen to it, go into battle, even though it could be the best thing that ever happened.
Right.
So what I have seen will probably show up at some level is there will be a manipulation of here's the aliens on some level to try to make humans think that don't buy into it. I
Yes.
don't even know how to describe it. Don't
A
buy
false
into
flag.
it.
It's a false.
Don't run to them. Don't have anything to do with them because it's not true. And but it'll be done under the guise of manipulation in the dark to try to pull in all the people that
Right.
have been studying about all these other beings in the universe and galaxy. We are not the only things. We know that. And we
Right.
know they all sit under God, which is that beautiful love energy,
Yep.
all of them.
Yep.
There are some that are bad, like Star Trek, we say like Klingons, and there
Yeah.
are lots, more of them are good.
Mhm.
Most of them are good. But they also have an understanding. They've already been here. They've already been helping us. The
Right.
good ones are not just going to show up at your door 20 feet tall and say, here I am. They
Right.
have an understanding of humanity,
Right.
safety, joy.
Yeah.
So if you see
Service
it,
to others. Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
they're going to create a false flag. I
Mhm.
guarantee you there'll be some sort of false flag that'll come under this guise to try to get people to feel, and don't fall for it, that that is not of the light. Don't go there because it's not. It's not of the light. But
Mhm.
it's true, and they're already here to help us. There was a lot of things that were shown, and people can take it for what they want. But the way I saw it was for 25,000 years, we've had a lot of these dark energies controlling. We already know that. That's why we're here today. Their reign is pretty much done.
Yes.
So the battle, if you want to call it a battle, has already been happening between the light and the dark energies that have come to help the earth.
Right.
So you don't have to get caught up in it. I say, don't go down the rabbit hole. Don't even worry. Just get yourself right,
Yeah. Get in the light. Yes.
get in the light, and you're going to be fine. You're going to ride through this. You're going to ride through the financial change. You're going to ride through the new opportunities. You're going to ride through helping humanity.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've had encounters with a lot of these other beings, and I'm sure people go, that's crazy. Well,
I don't think it's not, and I don't think people listening, yeah, just to affirm, and more people are all the time. And here's, I cut you off. I'm sorry.
no, that's okay. No, you didn't. But it's true. It's like people like, that's weird. Well, no, it's not weird. But no, the ones of the light are not going to scare you.
Mm,
Go watch that movie. I say to people, watch it, because somebody who had a very clear encounter with them, I've had a similar, like in that way, who's had it, made that movie,
wow.
because it's so loving and it's so prophetic and it's about better world and helping. That those energies are here to help. But people go down the rabbit hole and then they're trying to figure, I'm like, that's not your
Right.
place. Your place is to get right.
That's
With
right. That is so beautiful. And when I used to lead these Bible studies and was still doing like more the Christian ministry stuff, I still would ask people in Genesis 1:1, it says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Genesis 1:2 says, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And then Genesis 1:3 says, and God said, let there be light. Let means allow. And then I ask him, who was he talking to?
Yeah.
What darkness was on the earth for so long that God had to interject again and say, allow there to be light on this planet once again? And then he spoke, and he kept speaking and speaking. He said, let this, let that, let this, let. He was speaking to an authority that was on this planet that he overrode,
Yep.
and it had to submit to that override because it was the highest order. And yet this reintroduction into this planet is 25,000. It's not that long. And so, I mean, 25,000 years, Adam to now 6,000, fine. But Adam wasn't the in Genesis 1:26, it said, and God said, let us make man after our image, after our likeness, male and female created he them. But then later it says there was no man to till the ground, and God formed man out of the dust of the ground. And then from Adam, he brought forth a woman. So
Mhm.
Adam and Eve are not the male and female created in Genesis 1:26. And there was so much time. This is the 25, and the Bible is actually the narrative of 25,000 years, and it is coming to an end of this 25,000 year cycle. It's just the darkness teaches that it's all this little contained new earth, young with, and I know it's funny I brought up psychedelics because I have psychedelic experiences when I study ancient civilizations.
Sure.
When I'm like the Secrets of Egypt documentaries, or I don't even know how to say it, Globekli Tekli or something in Turkey, and all these ancient ruins, and they don't know how they cut the stones, and the stones are, I mean, I'm called to this. I love it. I feel like there is so much more, and we're about to get the veil lifted off, and like everyone's gonna be like, wow.
Well, it's kind of like, look at every culture, like older civilizations, not so much North America, but we go back into the older civilizations. Do you notice they all have a character that looks just like Zeus in their history?
Mhm.
You know, like, so we'll just use that because everybody knows that, but they call it different, but they all look the same. They have the same stories, the same interaction, because these energies have already been here and
Right.
then they've left. So but it doesn't mean they haven't come back. It doesn't mean they haven't checked on things, or look at when I was in Greece, in Santorini, we went to, now the names, everybody's been there, you get it. We went to this little village, and basically they were excavating underneath, right? I don't know why the name, they'll have to look it up. I'm having a blank. Anyway, so you could walk on the plexiglass and down below. So that's where the city of Atlantis, right, sunk, was right by Santorini. So I sailed over it, and it was crazy what happened sailing over it. It was a theory, but yeah, Thera, I think it was Thera, was a little town. Anyway, so you can walk, and like they were excavating, and you can find this online, like toilets with plumbing that were thousands of years old.
Yes.
And you
100%
look at
plumbing.
it.
Yes. That's
Yeah,
what I
100% plumbing. And you could see it. So you could walk and see. And I'm like, if people truthfully don't realize that we had to have a reset back then, and it
Yes.
didn't quite go into the light that they wanted, but that's why they're finding this.
That's
But
right.
this reset right now, the reset we're happening on every structure we've lived in, from government to monetary to religion, we're resetting for real to the light. Like, this is for real going to the light. They're done. They're
Yes.
done.
That's
Yeah,
right.
they're done.
Oh, it's exciting. And I just feel people saying, getting with that religious clinging, and
It's
just
not the only way.
not
People have to
afraid. Yeah.
understand not to be afraid to
Yeah.
have your own thoughts. You've been there, and I haven't been there like you have, but like we were saying, for people listening, like, it's, if you love your Bible, read it and take the good of it, like how you do. Take it and mold it your way to uplift you and empower you. And if that's not your way, then know there's a new way, and know that as long as you're bettering yourself, finding your light, you're the right way. There's nothing wrong with you if you're sitting there going, I don't feel comfortable, or this doesn't resonate. And also know, when a new way comes in, your body will feel uncomfortable. So never discount looking at new ways, because the body will naturally, and your subconscious, want to keep you safe. So if
Mm.
you start to leave that religious organization, you're going to get challenged. People are going to say, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But there's that, go within your own gut, even if everyone's telling you, no, 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 because I've been there, Lucas, you've been there.
Oh, yeah.
And the only thing that saved my life was finally going against the grain and in my gut, because I knew it had to.
Yes.
And I couldn't stay in the medical system anymore. I'd be dead. They couldn't do any more for me.
Right.
And this is like the religion. If it's hurt so many people, and we were saying this, between, oh, you got to recant, and you're a bad person, and you're an
Mhm.
evil person, just go within and realize that your core is the love. And it's okay for you to go explore something different. You're not a bad person
Yes.
because you want to explore. You're a person that is waking up to the fullness of your sovereign being.
Mm. Beautiful. Beautiful. I have been watching your videos. I've been playing your clearings. I did Epsom salt bath the other night and just it's incredible. My wife, I have to tell you a funny thing as we wrap. She said we watched you on video on the TV. I sent you a picture of it, and she loved our first episode. Lauren's like, she is so powerful, like so grounded, so powerful. And I was like, yeah, she's amazing. And then when she saw you in person, she was like, she's like, oh, that's not who I was thinking you should look like. I was thinking, and I was like, what, more like Dolores Cannon or something like that? She's like, yeah, like short hair and it's so, you're just so wonderful and in all ways. And thank you for coming on.
I can't thank you enough. And I actually, it's funny. People have, I always say it feels like living a million lifetimes in this one as moving. And I can't tell you how many times somebody's shown up for a session or, and the first thing they say is, I thought you were going to be a really old lady and wearing a muumuu. And I'm like, where's this perception? But it's because it's not when people hear, and this is, everybody has this gift. It's not me that you're feeling. It's not, I'm just a conduit. It is, God has asked me to show up to give clearing and restoration. And a lot of people, they do that. They think I've got to wear a muumuu and be 100. But Dolores Cannon, no.
Nope.
I am here to say to everybody, we do not believe in the aging line. You get the journey line, the journey line.
I love that.
So sing and dance and be happy because your body, your soul, your spirit can rejoice. It can repair. It can regenerate. It can restore. And, I always say that we have that term, the CDC, which is for most people, the Center of Disease Control.
Yeah.
And if I can leave somebody with a thought, I always like to play on words, that it's connection and it's dedication and it's clearing. And when you can actually understand that, take words that may be heavy and shift them right now and remove all of your perceptions. And if you don't know what to say, if you're confused, I always say, thank you, God, reverse my perception and show me a new way.
Tracy, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on with that powerful conversation. And everyone listening, I hope it blesses you to the highest degree. Just know it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Rest in love. Do the inner work right now. Turn the television off. Turn those frequencies and channels and energies. I mean, what do we call channeling? It's channeling some frequency to you. Turn the channels off. Turn the frequencies from that new vibration that is actually fear-based off. Everything's going to be what it's going to be. But you get to do the inner work. I get to do the inner work. We get to reclaim our sovereignty, come back in ourselves in alignment as grounded beings, part of this beautiful planet, to help others be free and heal. This is the time. I bless you all. I am Lucas Mack. This is the Golden Rule Revolution, and I look forward to talking with you on the next episode. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for listening. For support in your journey, go to my website, lucasmack.com.